What's going on, FNG Madden 19 Season 3? We're in week 5. What's going on, y'all? On the show, of course, you got myself, Dillard Hall, the Browns owner. We got Mr. Stephen Dillard, the Jags. We got Tiger, a.k.a. probably the best interview I've seen out, the Giants owner. He's
definitely trending.
Exactly. We got the 49ers owner. We got Mr. Tony Tranks, the triple.
Hey,
OG.
now.
Yes, sir. We got a newbie on the show. First timer. We got Joe Williams, the Panthers owner for season 3. And then we also got another commissioner. We got Josean, the Raiders.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, fellas?
Yeah, full house.
Yeah, I like this. I like this. This is what's up. I'm gonna put a show up on my phone.
Y'all can still hear me, right? Because I changed mics.
Yeah, you're good. You sound
All right.
good.
5 by 5, as Tony would say. 5 by 5.
You are 5 by 5. Actually, 5 by 4.
I'm 5 by 4.
Yeah.
All
right. So real quick, I know I did it yesterday. Let me try to pull it up real quick. We're gonna do the power rankings.
I thought you wanted to introduce Joe first.
Oh yes. Go ahead, Tranks.
We have Joe Williams on the show. He is definitely an OG. He's also a journeyman. That's right. He's been going from team to team to team. He's been the Bears for a while. He's been Tampa Bay for a while. But
he was the Montreal Alouettes as well.
Yeah. He's one of the few owners. In fact, we probably have, I think, including myself, 3 guys on this show that has seen a lot of changes on the league from its inception to now. He's one of the ones that doesn't say a whole lot, but does chime in. So, Mr. Joe Williams, introduce yourself, sir.
Joe Williams, been in the league for about 8-9 years now.
Ooh, 8-9 real life years, huh?
Yeah. Started off as a Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Was them for a couple of years, and I moved to Chicago. Was them for a couple of years. Of course, went to the Eagles for like a season. Now I'm with the Panthers. And I feel like it's going to be a new.
Why'd you leave the NFC East? Oh, that's right.
Because I was scared of Tiger Roy.
What we like over in New York like most about Joe is that he buys all our gear, even though he plays for a different team.
But I kind of the Panthers is a great fit for me, and just seeing how far can I take them.
Yeah, well, I believe you're going to take them really, really, really far because you like I said before, you've been a competitor, been in the playoffs. Even I'm not sure. I think you've even beaten me in the playoffs. And but since you're
not sure. You're not sure, really. You gotta remember.
No, I did.
Remembers everything. He remembers. Trace remembers everything. I'm not sure. I think you may be.
But yeah, I'm used to you being competitive.
Twice a day. So
I'm really used to you being competitive, and you've been down for a while. But literally since this move to the Panthers, you are 3 and I mean when I say 3-1, 3-1 with a bullet and authority, and I'm trying to figure out. What do you think has changed since you switched teams?
Well, I think that being that I
Cam
something about the Panthers. Yeah, Cam. Yep. Something about the Panthers just fit my style of play. But not just Cam though. Christian McCaffrey, I've been having kind of success with running him and he have been, doing a lot of good for me. So I think this team
like
right
season.
Here
you kidding me?
I give Joe a lot of hard time regularly because he opens his mouth sometimes. But I did watch that game earlier. I think it was 2 games ago, and I said to the people in the party that I had never seen Joe play as solid, consistent football in all the years we played as he's been playing beginning of the year. So I think a lot of it is he cut the fat from his play calling, his choices. And then I think his football mind just got more well-rounded. Maybe the years of watching our Giants play so poorly messed him up. But right now, it seems like he's the style of football in Madden. And so I think that's contributed to his success. Even in the game he lost, he played really well. So I just think that's probably
by 3 points. Lost by 3
points. That's the difference. And I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's playing. I've never seen him play as well as he's playing right now. So I think even when he's beat Tony, I think he's played better now than I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, you look awesome these last 4 games, and you put up this. You shocked the world week 1, beating the Seahawks 44-38, and then your very next game against the Falcons. Yeah. Against the Falcons, we were like, okay, well, he surprised them, got away with one there, and then turn around the Falcons and beat the brakes off the Falcons, 34-13.
I think I mentioned that first week because when Dillard said, "Ooh, he beat the Seahawks," I said, "I think he's found the team. That team fits him just right." Because then right after that, week 2 you won, and then week 3.
He did more than win. He dominated. I mean, he did everything he wanted to do in that game against the Falcons, and then against the Chargers. Like Tiger kind of said, he was having a terrific game. Christian McCaffrey was everything. He got injured in that game, which kind of.
And I don't care what Matt, who that, give me that, whatever says. If McCaffrey don't get hurt, he loses that game.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I agree. I agree. So, and then you bounce back with a win against the Broncos, who've been playing well. They were undefeated until then. Yeah. I am just impressed.
If this was the BCS style, he'd definitely be a top tier team.
Yeah,
for sure,
definitely.
Man. I mean, he is off his record alone, but some big wins.
Yeah. Well, keep up the good work. We're looking forward to more stuff from you. Hope you win every single game this season except against the 49ers. So,
appreciate it.
You could run the Bucks a while back, if I'm not mistaken, and so hopefully the Bucks do, which is what they're 3-1 right now, going on. We're gonna bye week and come back and lose them all, which is what the Bucks used to do. So let's see. He'll bring that over to the Panthers.
Oh, quick question. I noticed that just a second, Tiger. I noticed a southern drawl, Joe. Are you in the South?
I'm from Virginia.
Virginia, okay. So you're near Tiger. You're near Nation. You're near Tony.
Yep.
Okay. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Hey, but man, welcome, dude, man. Just please give us your input, insight. I know you've been watching us. You've been commenting on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I love new voices on here and just giving their views about the game and the league. So welcome.
Yeah, y'all do a good job, man. Y'all do a good job.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, Tranks, for doing that, brother.
Sure.
Let's go right into power rankings. Want me to read it down?
Sure.
And if you can get the division leaders, if you can look that up.
Sure.
All right. Power rankings for going to week 5. It was Browns number 1 at 4-0. Bears at number 2. Number 3 is Chargers, 4-0. They just took a loss to Tillman, so that might change a little bit. Another conversation during the show.
That's next time.
He should be joining us real soon. So Vikings at number 5 at 4-0. Panthers at number 6 at 3-1. Titans number 7, 3-1. Cardinals number 8, 3-1. Rams at 9 at 3-1, and the Eagles at number 10, 3-1. What y'all think?
I like it, and I feel really good about the fact that you ranked the Eagles above the Redskins. When my natural ranking would have been the other way around, but you ranked them above the Redskins, and they just beat the Redskins, which was, like I said, shocking to me. So
I mean, they didn't just beat them; they destroyed them.
Yeah.
I mean, like 30-7. Yeah.
There's a familiarity there that you probably didn't take into consideration because you didn't know that there's a familiarity there. But people don't remember that Pete was one of the elite 5-10 players for the league before. He talked a lot of shit, but he definitely one of the elite players. So when I said early preseason that our division is definitely, in my opinion, up there with the NFC West, it's because you got people who notoriously are in the playoffs and or have won. And then there's me. So that's what makes it a very strong division.
Oh, we're going to get to you, my brother. All right, Tranks, you ready to run down?
Yes, I can run down the divisions. And they're kind of turning out kind of the way we thought they were going to. Or at least the way I thought they were going to. Right now, Browns 5-0. No one's surprised about that. The biggest surprise is the Ravens being 1-2. And the Bengals and Steelers tied at 1-3 for the AFC North. Mm-hmm. That's shocking. Ravens have had a rough beginning of the year, but they just got that trophy shipped in the mail. I saw that picture with him kissing the trophy, so hopefully that's inspiration enough to turn that season around because, 3 games back, they're going to need some help, and they're going to have to do some of that work. Anybody surprised so far?
Not really. I mean, surprised, yes. Definitely one of the better owners, in the league, and he's the champ. But he played Dillard early, right? Dillard, you're one of the losses, right?
Yeah, then he lost to the Eagles.
Yeah, so I mean, it's surprising. I don't know if it was a big shock this early in the season. You probably put on paper they probably thought it's a good chance he may lose versus Dillard. In the other games, Eagles a new owner, tough to make adjustments to a new owner.
Right.
And, he's a proven vet. Previous time. So, but yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I think he's still early enough to where he's back. He actually plays me this week, so it'll be a good opportunity to kind of turn things around for his season. So,
yeah, I think you're going to win that game. Don't worry about it. You got him against the ropes.
No comment.
but nobody.
Right.
But nobody's surprised.
Way to set me up. Thanks.
Right, exactly. He set you all the way up.
Right.
Yeah, because I was waiting for him to say, but he's one of my favorite owners, so I expect him to do well. I was expecting that next, but nobody's surprised at the order because that's kind of how we had them ranked. Really.
Yeah.
I think I had the Ravens ranked above the Browns, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. I have to look at the other show. Moving on to the AFC South, we have the Titans. They're leading the division at 4-1. Jags at 2-2. Texans at 2-3, and the Colts at 1-4, which is, beat my expectation. I disrespected them and ranked the computer above them, so they're ahead of the game. But we're all in the order that I expected. Anybody surprised at that ranking so far? Yes, no. Okay,
no,
makes sense.
Didn't we lose the Colts owner?
Yes. Yeah, we did.
Yes,
but they've been pretty much they were computer when we did the preseason schedule and ranking.
Pretty stacked.
Yeah, team stacked. So we'll get an owner in there soon.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just the AFC South. The AFC East, we have the Bills at 3-2. We have the Dolphins tied at 3-2, and we have the Patriots and Jets both at 0-5. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember who I had winning that division, but the tie at 3-2 is impressive. 3 wins for both teams is more than I expected so far.
They won last year.
Yeah,
I think we had the Dolphins to keep the division.
I think I picked the Bills myself. I thought if he could stay legit throughout the season, I think he's a solid player. Mm-hmm. Most of my games I've had to get some involved in pretty good games. Okay. So definitely good luck to him. I don't know if I saw 0-5 out of both the Patriots and the Jets. I think that's probably,
I didn't see that
so that's probably the biggest surprise. The order not so much, but the 0-5 on both those teams, that most definitely.
It could have been in a rough first 5 games.
Yeah, I wonder who the AFC East plays, as far as divisional. Are they playing NFC West? They're losing to you as a South. I'm not sure, but that may have something to do with those 0-5 games. So.
Okay.
The Jets are 0-5 on AP this whole time.
Is that right? Okay. So there you go.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So hopefully they'll have a turnaround.
Uh-huh.
But,
the Patriots are the team that picked up the rookie quarterback and it had
that's
kind of a surprise, I guess. Yeah. They had Russell Wilson and the first round quarterback.
I
will say this
week.
I watched the Dolphins play, and one of their wins, they discovered David Johnson. I was mad because I was bidding on him in the offseason, and I'm gonna bitch about this but I was trying to get David Johnson when he was out there, and he outbid me and got him. And in the middle of the game, when he had a tough game, I want to say with the Patriots or somebody, and he remembered he had David Johnson, literally took the game over and ended up winning that game. So, I think I might have ranked the Dolphins as the division winner for that. So we'll see how that goes. Moving on to the AFC West, this is looking kind of what I expected: Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders. Anybody surprised about that?
Josean, what's up, my brother?
I'm surprised he got a win.
Man, that last game against the Chiefs was crazy.
Yeah, what's his name? Bullock told me that he had a good game against you, and that you would have been upset about that game the way it turned out.
Oh, I was. But it is what it is, man.
It is.
Hey, the thing you can look forward to is in the next Madden you're gonna have AB.
Yeah,
Man, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations on Antonio Brown.
That's crazy when we can make.
Hey, wait. Just side note though, man. Those, the trade talks getting Odell Beckham. Gotta be nice. Yeah, the Browns are talking about trading for Odell.
They don't have enough resources.
They got like 7 first-round picks over the next 3 years. So
yeah, man.
I mean, that's
the reason we signed him to a contract is because Belichick wanted him. So
yeah, well, Odell has been part of trade talks 4 seasons now since the boat trip. So we'll see if there's any traction on that.
Look, we just got rid of Collins. We just got rid of Vernon, which I think was a good trade to the Browns.
With all these edge rushers in the draft,
exactly. But with Collins, I was a little disappointed in that because unless they were really going to go after Earl Thomas and Weddle went to Rams, so unless they're going to go after someone like that, I don't know why they would have let that go. Because I didn't see a lot of strong safeties that were meaty. I mean, he's a locker room fan, a fans fan, so I'm a little disappointed in that. So nothing would surprise me with Gettleman where I was going with that. So if he traded Odell, I don't know. I think you should start with trading our coach, but that's my trade
the coach. Hilarious. All right.
Well, moving along, we're moving over to the NFC. NFC North has the Bears at 4-0. They had a bye. The Vikings at 5-0. Packers at 2-2, and we have the Lions at 0-5. And honestly, the order that it's in doesn't surprise me. I think that's where I had them ranked. Anybody surprised about the ranking so far?
No, but I watched 1 or 2 of the Packers game. Maybe they play well. They had some. They had a good game against the Bears. The score didn't really show it, but they were in a red zone and threw, I think, like 3 picks in the end zone. But they drove down the field pretty well. It's just Bears have great defense, but they. Absolutely. But he did a great job of driving down the field. From 20 to 20. Just couldn't get in the end zone. So I was definitely impressed by what I saw, just to be honest.
Yeah, he had one good year where he actually led that division.
For a while, I remember.
Really? Okay. Yeah. So because he's been at the bottom. I mean, he's been a 2 to 4-win team, I think, for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, so I did expect. I know he started off, I think, undefeated. He was in the top 10 in one of the early rankings. But when I watched the game against the Bears, I mean, I could see why he won the first couple games. So
he stole my offseason offensive lineman, so I'm happy for him.
All right, moving down to the AFC South. We have the Panthers shocking the world at 3-1.
Yeah.
We had to interview Joe Williams because it was just magnificent, the performance.
Yeah, kudos.
And we have the often maligned Falcons at 2-2.
What's going on there?
Shocked.
Yes.
Shocked.
Yeah, I think no Julio and an aging Matty Ice is probably catching up with him, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he lost his first 2, won his next 2, so I think that maybe he was trying to this summer Cancun was a little longer when 2 it should have been. I'm not sure what he did all season.
Hey, you broke up right there.
I said his off season might have been a little longer than 2. He lost the first 2, but came back and won the last 2. So maybe he just had to get his feet from under him.
Yeah.
He's a great owner, so I think he'll be fine when it's all said and done.
Yeah, it's early. It's early. We're talking 5 weeks in, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I mean, it's super. I mean, look at the Ravens. The Ravens wasn't even in the top 10 last year, I don't think, and they won the Super Bowl. So it don't matter as long as you make the playoff, you got a chance. So
true.
Hey, don't talk up the Ravens until they spank you. It's okay.
I mean, shut up.
And the wrap it up, we have the Bucks at 2-3 and the Saints at 0-4.
Yeah, that was a good win over the Broncos, by the way, as well for the Bucks.
Oh, yeah,
that was surprising.
Amazing.
Yeah. I didn't see that coming either.
Their running back had 344 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns.
Man.
So
yes, I saw that.
If you want to scout against the Broncos, run the ball. Oh my God!
Yeah, he said that too.
Yeah, it was something else.
He said his run defense is terrible. So
yeah, well, he better get that squared away.
After those stats,
344 yards. Now, granted, he ran it 28 times, so he was risking getting hurt. Ronald Jones, I think his name, or Roland Jones. But geez, 344 yards is 344 yards.
Yeah.
So we're heading over to the NFC East. Go ahead.
Now, I said when I played the Broncos, he gave me hell. I had a hard time with. I actually came from behind,
right,
to beat him, and actually it was like in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I thought
he beat him.
I watched y'all game. I thought he had you beat. I think he was up 2 scores in the fourth quarter.
Yes, he was
late, and you turned the ball over. So I'm like, oh man, he's better than I thought. And then I turned my game off, and I got the alert that the game was over, and I saw the score. I'm like, man, I was like, what did you do at the end of the game to finish it off strong?
Go ahead. No, you go ahead, Joe.
No, I think if I recall, I think I caused them to punt, and then I actually had scored off that, and that kind of sealed the game for me.
Gotcha.
But it was a close game, though.
This too. This is important. This is why we really want to as many games broadcast as possible, because this is entertaining for everybody whose game is over, or everybody who's out with the family doing honey-do lists and daddy daycare. I'll pull the game up on my phone. I'll be watching it, and I literally will stop what I'm doing to watch it. And when we do the show, see how Billups is commenting on the game. It gives you incisive perspective on what happened in the game, why somebody actually won the game versus lost. Little stuff that we can gain to help you in your game, and it adds content to the show. So broadcasting the game is never a bad thing. We're not looking to hurt anybody with it. And some people were kind of concerned about broadcasting, thinking it was a negative thing. It's actually, in my opinion, it's a good way to self-scout. It's a good way to make yourself better. So I always would appreciate anyone to broadcast when they can, because it's good to get that advice from people who's watching your game. So good game against the Broncos.
It was awesome.
So heading over to the NFC East, we have the Redskins at 3-2, and they just got shocked by the Eagles. Oh no, I'm sorry. The Eagles are at 4-1, so they're leading the division. And we have the Redskins at 3-2, and they literally just lost to the Eagles 30-7. I mean, we were shocked. Now that game was game of the week and was not broadcast.
I think it was 30-15, but yeah,
it's 30-13.
Yeah, I think so.
No, the Redskins held one score.
Yeah, it was only one score. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was one score. You might want to check that. But when I ranked the division this year, I ranked the Redskins, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and right now it's Eagles, Redskins, Giants at 1-3, and the Cowboys at 0-4. So we'll see if that actually continues to turn out like that. But anyone surprised at how it looks? Yeah, he did actually. He beat the who did he beat? He beat the Bengals. He almost beat the Cardinals.
Hey, Tranks, you're breaking up.
Sorry about that. He almost beat the Cardinals.
It was clear over here. Yeah, NFC East. It looks well. I mean, there was a lot of predictions on 1-3 coming into this point. I'm sure that wins are wins, losses are losses. I don't believe if I could be unbiased, which is difficult here, anyone predicted my first 3 games to go the way they went, even if
I predicted.
No. Even though the outcomes are the same.
I think he wants a ribbon. I think he wants a ribbon. He's trying to get a ribbon. Get this man a participation trophy. The games are
Here's
close.
A cookie.
No.
The games have been close.
I was opening up for an honest discussion. See, I'm biased, right? I was trying my hardest to make y'all wrong about the 1-3. I was good. I've been good with 2-2 or 3-1, but it didn't work out that way. Yeah. However, I mean, I think both Wally and Dan both told me they felt that they were, they felt my presence in the game. They just got away with a win, and a lot of it is me being stupid in the fourth, and being stupid in the red zone. But there's been a lot of that going on the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of picks in the red zone. And,
I don't think, and maybe I'm speaking for everybody, I don't think anybody feels you're trash by any means.
No,
but
no, not at all.
The outcome at the end of the day was going to be the outcome. I think that's what we just predicted. So whether you lost by 1 point or 30 points every game, I think it was, I don't think the 1-3 is surprising anybody.
Yeah, nobody can get. It's the other reason why I'm good with taking the heat and getting the business from you guys, because nobody can give me the business more than my wife, who knows nothing about Madden, not even from this country.
Yeah,
it's like, how you gonna lose to them people when they can get on that talk? And I gotta explain to her why, like, it's just sometimes it happens.
You lost. How you lose? You were winning. It was hilarious.
Tony was on the dial when it happened.
So all you gotta do is start another franchise with the Giants and then show her you're 7-2 in that league. She won't know the difference, man.
Oh boy. Okay, we move over to the NFC West. We have the Niners at 4-0, leading the division. We have the Rams at 3-1. Mm-hmm. We have the Cardinals and Seahawks both tied at 3-2. And I want to say they split. The Cardinals didn't lose twice to the Seahawks, did they? Who else did the Seahawks lose to? I mean, the Cardinals lose to.
Cardinals lost this week. Who they lose to this week?
They lost to the Seahawks this week.
Lost to the Seahawks this week.
Let me pull up the schedule. I'll pull it up right now.
He lost to the Seahawks. Yeah, he lost to the Seahawks twice.
Wow.
Already?
Yeah,
that's big for.
That's big.
Huge.
I mean, that is huge. So really, the Seahawks are last in the division by virtue of the divisional record.
The Cardinals, are you saying, right?
Yeah, Cardinals.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are essentially the bottom of the division because by them having 2 NFC West losses.
Yes, I talked to Dan about that, and he said for some reason he cannot beat D at all. The Seahawks. He said the Seahawks has his number.
And they both were 1-score games. First game he lost 20-24. Mm-hmm. Second game he lost 23-30.
He almost won that second game.
But the first,
I know Dillard was in there. Did you see that catch?
Yeah,
Dillard.
That was crazy.
Where he threw it into like double, triple coverage. It got tipped up, and it went forward and diagonally to the right, like 15 yards. And another receiver caught it and kept their feet in bounds and went out of bounds. I said, dude, it's like they're trying to give him this game.
So the first game they played, looks like the Seahawks scored 17 of their 24 points in the fourth quarter. So Dan was up 17-7 going into the fourth.
His butt cheeks got real tight and he lost.
So that's some tough losses.
It's real tough, but we all knew it was going to be competitive in the NFC West.
Yeah, just look at y'all records.
Is anyone surprised though at the rankings right now?
Honestly, no.
I'm not, because that's the exact rankings I picked.
Well, no. But nobody had Joe in there. So just to be honest.
No, he said NFC West.
No.
So the West. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
In the West, I actually had the Cardinals last, I think, but it was primarily because I knew they had a first place schedule with their other
I remember
divisional rounds. But losing to the Seahawks twice, I mean, I don't know if I saw that. I saw a lot of you guys going 3-3.
Yeah, I remember you saying that too. That we were all going to split.
Yeah. So I thought Tranks having that 4th place record in the division would help him get back to first, and then the Cardinals having the 1st place record would kind of cause him to go down. But
I watched the Rams Seahawks game, and no excuses. While he was playing around, playing while he was dealing with his daughter, but because of the fourth quarter, he had that game in 3 different opportunities to beat the Seahawks, and he ended up throwing it away. And it was a 1-score game, I think, in the end. But for the most part, it looked like Wally was going to win that game as well, which would put him at 4-0 as well. So, I just think that those guys, if you're playing the best every week, you're going to have good games.
Yeah, but good thing about the Seahawks, though, is they got I know they lost to Tranks. It was a close game as well, I think. 20-24, something like that. But all their 3 wins are divisional wins. I mean, that's big, as he finishes out the season. So
yeah, it's going to definitely help him in the future.
Yeah.
And to go along with what Dan was saying, I hate everybody in my division, but the Seahawks are usually my toughest games. Like it's hard for me to do anything against Seahawks because their team is put together well, except for them not having much of a quarterback.
Yeah.
But their defense is just tough. Makes it tough on offense and defense. So it's no surprise Cardinals struggling against them a bit. But luckily we only play each other 6 times, and then you got to play the rest of the league. So
yeah,
maybe that'll even. And another thing too, I remember when we did the rankings, we were, this is on another topic, but as far as the top 10, some people were kind of not happy with the way that the top 10 ranking was, because it was just like certain wins were supposed to push people above other things. And a lot of people really weren't counting. They were counting out the Eagles because they didn't know how good they were when I initially told everybody how good they was. And me beating them early really is the reason why I'm where I'm at now. There's a lot of guys that are up in the rankings because that's where they belong. So, you kind of got to respect. It's not something we just do based on records. There's different things. We're not going to rank somebody who's undefeated below somebody who has a loss. We're not going to do that. But generally, you're going to be ahead of the person that you beat unless there's some extenuating circumstances. So it's a process we go through doing it. It's not something that's just easy. We just get it done.
Yeah. My 2 cents in regards to the rankings, I know a lot of the preseason rankings have more to do with what happened last year. People's status in the league. But I thought after 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks, some people had some real good quality wins. The Panthers' first 2 wins were big. I thought they probably had the best wins to start the season off. So, though we know the Browns has been consistently the best team, in our league, I thought the Panthers should have got a lot of credit, for having the 2 best wins. So I thought they should have been ranked higher in the beginning of the season. Going through 3 weeks, I thought the Chargers had, again, some good wins. Minnesota had some good wins. So all those teams may have started out lower in our top 10, but they had the best wins to start the season, which is why I would have kind of argued them being higher. But I definitely respect the fact that, you rank people in the top 10 before the season start, and you want to kind of honor those rankings as well, not take somebody down, because especially when they don't lose. So
correct. Like the Bears and I were both on buys and we were undefeated. I wouldn't have expected us to drop because we didn't do anything but just buy, and then we both won our next game. So it's really, over the length of the season, it'll finish itself out because I doubt I'm going to go undefeated the entire season. So a loss there might make those wins by the other teams, the quality wins. You can rank me a different way, but, undefeated is undefeated. You can't.
Be who's on your schedule, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I still think you guys are looking at it a little bit long. I think that the real magic is when you get the quality losses. When you look at the quality
losses?
Yeah.
When you got a schedule like yours, there's going to be a lot of quality losses.
Man,
I will go out on a limb and say you will be the best 4 or 5 win team in the league. I'll give you that.
Hey man, don't count out. I got some strides to make to get to 4 wins.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Y'all ready for the next topic?
Speaking of quality losses, what's going on? Give me that.
Y'all shut up.
What's going on?
Timing is perfect.
What's going on?
Actually, it is perfect because we're going to the game of the week. And he had the first game of the week. It was him versus the Falcons.
Easy bread.
I don't know what easy.
Man.
Wait, time out.
Man.
Dude, you won that game 10-3. Now, granted, I mean, you scored 3 points in the first quarter.
Oh, you're going back in time. I thought you were talking about this 38-14 game. You going back in time?
Well, we're
going to week one game of the week.
Week 1 game of the week.
Yeah, week 1 game of the week. He scored 3 points in the first quarter, 7 points in the second quarter, and then he shut you out in the second half. And then he only scored 3 points in the fourth quarter. So it was
pretty much the entire game.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. It was easy breezy.
That was a pretty good game, though.
It
was fun.
It was a great game, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was week 2. Week 3 game of the week.
That was week 1.
Week 1. I'm sorry. Yep. Week 1. I think week 2 we had 2 game of the weeks. We had the Seahawks versus the Cardinals. Yeah. Of course, Seahawks beat them 24-20.
Yep.
Yes.
And then it was the Browns versus the Ravens, and I beat the Ravens by a touchdown.
Yeah, 2 good games.
So
2 very, very good games.
I mean, that's easily I could split with Reggie. Because Reggie, he knows my.
You know that because he won last season. You forget?
Hey, Hold on, but then you sweep him last season?
I did sweep him. I sweep him in the regular season.
He swept him during the regular season, whatever that's worth, and
and
then got swept. Then got swept in the playoffs.
Well, clearly it was worth a trophy for Reggie. That's what it was worth.
You must be. I can hold my trophy up right now because it's holding my camera right now.
Okay.
I got 4 rings over here, so
that's a good spot for it.
Exactly.
That's a good spot for it. Hold your camera up.
Right, that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's always collecting dust right now. I need some new stuff.
Right, exactly.
All right, week 3, game of the week. Because somebody, Seahawks versus 49ers.
Was a game of the week? I might have been.
I don't know, but it was a good game.
It was definitely a good game because I struggle against the Seahawks regularly.
Period.
I don't know. I just kind of said it earlier in the show. It's difficult scoring against the Seahawks because it seems like everybody in their front 7 and their safeties just knows how to cover, knows how to hit, knows how to make guys drop the ball, and you don't have very much time to throw the ball. I mean, I was 72%. I was 13 for 18 with 3 touchdowns, no picks, but I had to make quick reads. I had to make fast reads, and I couldn't give him an opportunity. So not turning the ball over is, to me, the best way to beat those guys. And I made him turn the ball over 1 pick, which obviously was the difference in that game. Yeah. I was in the party with the Bears and was it you, Phillips?
Yeah.
And he literally called the score. And he said something in the party that literally made me. And I always play games with people in my party, but when he said this, I wanted to jump out the party because it got me more nervous than I've ever been. He said, "Oh, this game's over. There's no way you're going to lose this game." I'm just like, "Yo, I'm about to get you out this party for real." Because I literally you don't understand. Madden has built-in rivalry mode in here, meaning when you play the teams that you're historical rivals or division rivals with, both teams play harder against your team. So you have to execute your plays. You can't just toss stuff up because, like with the Seahawks and the Cardinals game, crazy stuff will happen because the team's playing way harder because it's a divisional game. So that was a tough game. I only had 60 yards rushing in that game. He had 53, and he had 107 yards rushing. So it was not an easy game. We got away. You got out of there with a win, and I'll take it. You know?
So I mean, of course, I watched that game.
With that game, you were very surgical with Jimmy. I mean, you made a lot of good plays when you had to, man.
Yeah.
Like I've always said, like you adapt well, no matter what happens. I'm saying, quote unquote, not so many great teams score points on you in the first half. They get shut down second half. Same with good teams, and you always make the right adjustments, man. So like, kudos.
I appreciate that.
In terms of that, that's something I definitely respect watching your games. I'm like, man, why this guy got 21 points in the first half and 300 yards, and then they get 17 yards in the second half? So it's it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it ain't easy, but we got to work hard for that because this division, every game in the division counts. You have to win your division. That's my ultimate goal. I posted that in the podcast, not the podcast, but on the webpage. Yeah. My first goal is to win my division because that guarantees me a playoff spot, so I can do something in the playoffs. And I'm doing what I can. I haven't had a whole lot of division games yet, but they're coming.
Yeah.
So week 3, game of the week. We made it had 2. So of course,
it was the Chargers and the Panthers.
Exactly, man. And of course, we got both of y'all on, but it looked like you was coming back. You scored a touchdown in the last quarter, but you lost that game 27-24.
Yes, I had a couple of turnovers. I want to say in the first quarter, I might have been back to back or a couple of plays.
I was watching that game, and you gave him an early lead.
Yes, I did.
But as you started coming back, and he doesn't sweat because he's giving me that apparently. But but he should have been, because until Christian McCaffrey got hurt, I thought he was going to lose that game.
Yeah. I was impressed with your execution and willingness to take what he was giving you. The Chargers were giving you defensively.
Yeah.
By the way, Matt, you're muted if you were trying to say anything, but you were taking what he was giving you, and I was impressed with your execution. But if he wasn't surprised by your game, he definitely was able to shut you down, at least early in the game. But
yes, he did.
It was just amazing he was able to pull that one out. I'm surprised. I really am.
Yeah,
Matt.
I wasn't real surprised. I mean, Matt has probably one of the better defenses, just to be totally transparent, in our league. So when he gets an early lead, it's really hard to come back on. So I definitely kudos to William because he was patient still, even being down.
Yeah,
he was still running the ball. He said take what he was getting, and that kept him in the game. And he had a good chance. And like I said, I'm not as strong as Tiger to say if McCaffrey did get hurt, he would have this and that. But it was definitely McCaffrey kept him in the game. And when he lost him, it definitely changed up everything, So
yes,
I wasn't saying anything negative against Matt. But I mean, I just remember the previous 3 games where McCaffrey ruled the game.
Yes, he did.
And so you can't just replace that with your backup. That's what I was saying because it was out of the passing, out of the backfield, and the flat. That's what I was saying.
I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that for the simple fact that when my guys got injured against the Titans in the playoffs, y'all all said, "Hey, you still got."
That was last season.
So,
that was last
season. Christian McCaffrey go out.
Your guys got hurt going into the game. You knew what you were playing with going into the game. You could have changed your strategy. He got hurt in the third quarter or something like that.
But Melvin Gordon got hurt in the first quarter. What you mean?
Hey, good win. Good win. Good win.
The Panthers. He did pretty good, and he beat the Broncos for me too. So I need that. Hey, he definitely did him.
Divisional losses always help, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, speaking of that, the very next week, week 4, once again, the Panthers. Hey, man, you're making noise, my brother. You had the Broncos game of the week. You won that game 36-33. It was a great game to watch. The Broncos had that game.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And but yeah, definitely, man. Congratulations on that win and pulling that out. We also had I think that was the only game of the week for that week, but we had a good game with the Rams and Seahawks.
I didn't watch that game. I'm sorry I missed that one.
Yeah, I watched that game.
I missed that one too.
Yeah, I watched that game, and I think I mentioned it a little earlier where it was a back and forth game. Rams actually had early momentum, and I wasn't in the room with him, so I can't speak on when he got to get distracted. But you could tell something changed on his end where he just wasn't throwing. I scrimmaged with him a lot, so I know when he's playing well and not. And I think it, unfortunately for him, and positive, good for Seattle, they took advantage of it. But I think it's about the time his daughter was fed up with him playing was about the time he started throwing stupid picks. Because he was like, I probably scrimmaged him more than anybody. I was like, man, you never throw those stupid passes.
Right.
So I think that, I don't know, but they still had a good game, even despite that, and so I think that just shows that division is just tough.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And it was another good game too, the Titans versus the Dolphins. And Titans pulled that game out 30-24.
And so that was a game that Dolphins played better these first couple games this season. I saw them play last year as well. So
yes,
they had a chance to win that game. I think they threw a pick in the end zone with under 20 seconds left that they got a chance to take the lead. So it was a good back and forth game between T Squared and the Dolphins. So
yep. All right, so to finish it off, week 5, it was the Redskins versus the Eagles, and the Eagles destroyed the Redskins 30-7.
30-7, and no one saw that game, unfortunately.
No,
I think, like I mentioned earlier, I believe that was a kind of you might want to mute somebody. Yeah. I think that was kind of a newbie mistake where, because Isaiah Nash broadcast almost all his games.
Yeah.
So I believe it was just one of those, hey, either they forgot to or they did and didn't tell anybody. Because the game just was played.
Or they broadcast after a while Isaiah threw in the towel to broadcast. There's familiarity there, but I didn't expect it. I thought it'd be a little tighter game.
Yeah, I did too. But I do want to say this. I know we brought it up earlier, Tranks. But it's amazing, y'all. We won. We got the advance early yesterday, and a lot of games got knocked out. But we only have 3 games left.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's Sunday.
Yeah. So
advance day is typically Wednesday. So
yeah. So y'all doing an excellent job. One, getting your games in, communicating,
Yes,
that's one thing we ain't even talked about, man. Everybody's communicating, and and definitely the trash talk is on another level. And speaking of trash talking, I'm gonna say it right now. I got my best friend on here, Mr. Tiger. For one, I want to say, brother, Matt started the thing. He's the guy doing the interviews. And Matt, I'm not gonna lie, you do an excellent job, dude.
Oh, we love it so much.
Excellent job. Then who did it next? It was D, the Seahawks owner. He did an interview. Yeah. So you got everybody doing interviews. But Tiger, your interview, man, I had to show people at work what you did. Dude, how did you set that all up? Your interview. That was amazing.
Well, I mean, I feel cheating. Like I feel like I'm cheating when I take credit for that, because what I did was I had planned on doing one independent of how the game turned out. I was just going to change the very ending or add something to the end if I had won. After I did the exact same interview, so it was going to be exactly the same to the end. But what I did was I want to make it fun. Tony knows this. I do a lot of research on when it comes to like old school videos, and when it comes to football, we talk about getting arguments about who's the best at this, or we bring up old stats. So I'm quick on finding stats and stuff. So what I thought was, how funny would it be like a montage, sort of a tribute to all the great rants in football? So what I did is just kind of go find a series of rants and then speculate, because a lot of the rants you find on YouTube, they don't actually have the question. So I speculated on what the question might be that they're asking. How can I kind of merge it to the crap I was talking, and then revisit those rants that were from Mike Ditka and Dennis Green and Keyshawn Johnson, and just kind of put them all together and do it in such a way where it seems somewhat natural, but none of it was mine. It was all stolen, you know. And so
I can hear it.
But the idea of it was just to kind of pay tribute to those classic football moments in my mind, and so
it was well done, man. Because your mannerisms and the quotes were even on point. That was some method acting he was doing over there.
Well, I tried to make it, like I said, I tried to make it somewhat authentic, but anyone who knew those things would really know that they heard that before, you know. So I think that the older heads probably appreciate it. Newer heads like, this boy's crazy, you know. And so, but I mean, and so that was that, and I figured I had to give him something for the win, since I was talking so much smack beforehand. I had to give him some kind of that was just more of a, acknowledgement of.
Yeah. No, but actually, Matt, I do want to give you a shout out though, man. You really started this, this interview. What made you do the interview? Because I don't think we actually talked about it with you.
I think we talked about it before. Now, what made me do the interview, I was playing Phillips, the playoff, and I was so nervous, and I told myself, I said, if I win this game, I'm gonna do an interview. And I looked over to my girlfriend. I said, hey, if I win, you gonna do this interview for me? And I'll write all the questions down. And I want you to say this. And she was like, all right, I'll do it. And then I just did it. It wasn't really much to it. I just thought about it. Like, I was in the playoffs. I was excited. Y'all was talking all that crazy stuff. Get in the playoffs and win and all that. So I'm like, okay, we here now. Let's see what it's about. So when I won the game, I said, I'm doing the interview. Because all year they kept saying, win a playoff game. I finally got a playoff game under my belt. I'm doing the interview.
Playoff win.
And Dill, that's exactly it. Because what he translates what he just said was it was his ego, right? And I wanted to do one that was opposite that. I wanted to do one that was like not ego, but just like just in your face. We suck, but not make it sound like like just the opposite.
We gotta be the dumbest team.
Well, the thing we love most about you, Matt, especially those early ones, is it was genuine. Like you were genuinely, one, happy you won the game, and two, excited about where you were in the playoffs and where you were as far as because once you in our league, once you get a playoff win, you look that different. That's why you're ranked higher in the preseason. Like until you do something in the playoffs, honestly, you're nice and good. We'll talk about you and all, but it takes a playoff win to get our attention. And it was really, it was authentic, your joy, and we loved it.
Well, even the interview you did when you lost, So not because you do one because you win. You did one because you lost too, and that was awesome, man.
So y'all really should be thanking me for choking the playoffs. Otherwise, it never would have happened.
Now look who's looking for a ribbon.
Right.
But now, like that playoff game, I was like jittery. Like I remember it was weird. It was like the day before. I don't never get nervous about like that type of stuff. And the day before, I was talking to Dad. I'm like, man, I don't even know what to expect because I had played Billups in a exhibition match, and he beat me pretty good. He beat me pretty he beat me basically, and I was like, hey, like I beat him, but like, does he really play like this, or does he play like how I played him earlier in the season? I was confused, so I didn't know. So I was like, I don't know. So if I win, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna be excited about it.
Yep, so. That's good stuff. All right, so the next topic, and it could be real quick, but something that we never done on the podcast openly is talk about Madden gameplay, and also what would you like to see in Madden 2020?
Okay.
So
well, but Dill, before we move that, we kind of missed the topic. There was a sanction given this week.
Oh, you want to do that first?
Yeah, it's kind of important because other ones, kind of ifs and buts, and here's what I'd like, and here's what I dream about. We had a sanction this week, or it's based off last week's game, Chargers versus Raiders, and what happened in the game was there was probably less than 30 seconds, or just over 30 seconds left in the first half, and the Chargers were on the Oakland's 42. And we have a rule: whenever you're up by 15 points or more, on fourth down, you have to kick the ball, either punt it or kick a field goal. He didn't do that, and eventually he went on to score that drive. But regardless of whether or not he would have scored or not, it's a sportsmanship penalty, and we had to penalize him a game. So week 5 against the Titans, obviously he took a loss there, 38-14, because he was on AP. But I talked to him about that, and he pretty much told me that it's one of the things he forgot. And I understand that. He hasn't been in the league very long, so it's not something that I don't think he was doing to necessarily show up his opponent, but it's something that we kind of have to enforce, especially when it's not a rivalry game. And I know that there was some conversation about it on the boards inside the club, so I thought it was important that it had to be brought up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can chime in here because I would think I was one of the first people to speak. I don't want to say speak out against it, but to bring up what my opinion was based on the intent of the rule. I wasn't denying that he had broken the rule by the letter of law. What I was saying was that I remember when that came about, and some of the people who were no longer in the league had been belly aching about people running up the score on them and feeling disrespected and what have you, and the fact that they could leave the league and make it less fun. I don't know. I just felt like this rule might need to be modified to fit that spirit without making it too Mario Kart. The Mario Kart. Oh, you're too far ahead. Let me bring you back. And so I don't think the rule shouldn't be in place. I just think it should be modified because in the scenario that was presented, I think also Tillman might have chimed in and mentioned another scenario like that could very easily, because of something as simple as that rule, force you to do something, allow the person to get back in the game. When otherwise, even if you just ran the ball and didn't give it back to them, didn't make any points, you would still be in a situation where you'd be violating the rule and get penalized for something that would be a smart football play. And two runs and it goes into half. Depends on who gets the ball back. Like even there's no points when, there are plenty of coaches. I brought some, initial stats. There are plenty of coaches who in that scenario have made similar decisions that is not even far fetched. Last season Carroll went for it on his own 30. And so if you think about the football, I don't think that helps the fun. I think that's a little bit too policey, and that was my opinion. That's my opinion, but I figured that at least we could bring it to a vote and bring it up because that seems a little. That didn't seem like what we were trying to protect against. We're not trying. I don't think anyone would have felt disrespected being in that scenario. Going, oh my God, he went for it there. Like I don't think that's what we were really trying to protect. And so I think that's what my feeling was on it.
So I have a question for you. What do you think the rule was put in there for?
I just said to stop people from feeling like people are purposely trying to run up the score or trying to make it less football-like or make it unrealistic. That's what I thought it was defending against. I believe. That's what we discussed way back when we put in the rule.
Right. So you believe punting there would have been a bad choice, or just as unrealistic choice?
Well, no, I think that is a coaching perspective. Like, I believe that you are much more traditional when it comes to certain positions like that. I think maybe you could say if your punting is good and you could punt inside the 4, maybe you have a chance for a safety. You know, I think it's a situation thing. I don't know who got the ball after the half. I don't, in that type of situation. I don't know how much difficulty he has slowing down the offense. What I know is that a 4th and 2 yards at 42-yard line, my kicker may or may not kick that and make that. Yeah, I think my game against Dill, I missed a field goal around that range right before the half. And so for me, it's a situational thing where, especially imagine a scenario where you call a play, you miss a read, and you just want to run it back because you know that guy called the wrong defense, and you know that's open for 2 yards, and all you have to do is run it back to get that first down. At that point, 2 scores. I mean, I've been in a game with Bat up 20 points and lost in the last 2 minutes and lost by 21 because of Madden bomb, onside kick, and I've lost. It had almost didn't touch the ball again. So it's not unheard of to say you can come back and lose a game only up 15 points. So, I think even in Joe's game the other day against the Chargers, he was down by more than 15 and came back and brought it to a 1-score game. So those games can happen. And I think that artificially creating a scenario because of some legislation, if you will, doesn't allow for the natural flow of the game. If you want to go for it on your own 20-yard line, you're an idiot. But, sure, go for it. You shouldn't be prohibited in that scenario. But in an own 42 where you may be in field goal range, maybe not, that's such a wishy-washy situation that I don't think it should cost you another loss, and that was just my interpretation.
Well, again, in defense of the rule, it doesn't cost you another loss if you follow the rule. It's not like it's something where if he did it, he was going to lose. He chose to ignore it and chose, put in quotes, but he forgot or wasn't read up on it, and it cost him a loss this week.
Right. Well, so I'm not denying that the rule states it, and that if you don't follow the rule, you get a sanction. That's understandable. What I'm saying is that should the rule exist in the way it's written right now? That's
exactly. Well, see, my thing is you're just saying up 15. If you're saying you're up by 50 points, that's nothing. I gave up 35 points in 1 quarter. Yeah. So in that aspect, I agree. If he's on a 42 and he's able to go for it past the 50, it shouldn't be worried about how much you're up because the game is still early. It was in the first half. Yeah. So I get the whole point. You're saying like if you're up by 15, that's no points. Anybody could score 3 touchdowns in 2 minutes. Yeah. If you throw a pick 6 or whatever. So I think that need to be changed. If you're up by 24 points or something like that.
Yeah, I think the great thing about our league and our commissioners has been something that's been spoke about many, many times is that if there's rules that we all feel strongly enough, there's ways it can be changed.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And I don't think that everyone takes those things serious. I know we've had opportunities for a lot of different rule changes, and I think one of the things we want is everyone has to vote on it, and we can't
participate.
Get 32 people to vote at all. So yes, I think there's people who are serious about this, and maybe the top third is really serious about certain things and gameplay, and then the rest of them don't care at all. And you can see that by them not commenting on posts, by not taking the time to 5 seconds to vote when the option is out there for a full week. I mean,
subscribe on YouTube.
No. So nice plug there. No. I mean, this was in no way condemning the commissioners or even condemning the penalty for breaking the rule. Because I don't think anyone would argue whether or not he broke the rule as it stands. I just think that when I thought about the situation, I thought this almost seems like I don't want to call it Mario Kart, but that was my initial gut. It was like I was like, there are some of these rules when you follow them, they just need to be tweaked a little bit because they're a little bit too much. Like I don't think that 15 points. If you ask who's playing the Raiders, so if you ask Josean and say, "Hey, Josean, would you have felt insulted that he went for it?" I don't think his emotional state, or anyone, even the weakest person who has an emotional state in the league, would have been like, "Oh my God, he tried to disrespect me." I don't think that would have ever been met in that scenario. But there could be a scenario where it would have been met, and I think the rules should protect against that. Not, in my opinion, I think this was just a little too ticky tack.
Because he was only up by 18 points though. He was up by 18 points at that point.
Yeah, so the rules are the rules. He broke the rule. I think it should be open and shut at that point.
Right. I'm talking about going forward. I think the rules. I think my first statement was I think this should be something added to be revoted on because. Yeah. And then the question would be, what would you modify it to? And I think that's a more positive conversation to say, okay, what would you modify it to? And I think Tillman had a suggestion. Maybe it's 3 full score, 22 points or something like that. That's something that's like a little bit less reasonable that somebody would be easy to catch up from.
Yeah.
You know, like
three scores in the first half is not a lot.
No, 22 points in the first half is not. Yeah,
he was up 21-3. He could have kicked a field goal. Maybe he misses it. That's a long field goal. So now you get how much 30 seconds, whatever. He gives the next person a chance to score and break it into 21-10.
And if they get the ball back on the other half,
therein lies the rub. Here's the thing: like, if he punts that, I'm just using a specific situation. Yeah. And again, I don't want to act like I'm personally invested in the 15 points to rules. I'm just giving you the scenario that we were presented with. He's up by 18 points in the first half, up by 18-3, and he's on there. He's on the 42-yard line. If he can't make the field goal, and if he knows he can't make it, which is fine, everybody doesn't have my kicker or my kicking skills. Punt. Now he, punts the ball, puts it inside the 20.
If you're lucky,
that's not too hard because if he punts it out the end zone, he gets it on the 20.
Let's say he punts it to the 7-yard line. Keep going.
But if you punt it, there's no only guarantee you got is 20 yards, baby.
No, but let's say he punts it inside to the 7-yard line. So the guy starts the 7-yard line.
Here we go. At this point, he's held this person for the entire first half 3 points. Okay, not saying can't score on him or whatever, but the fact that he has the opportunity to punt or kick it, to me, makes sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the way the scenario guys are talking about, especially Mr. Billups, him kicking the field goal and giving them the ball on the 47. Yeah. Or the 49. You don't have to kick a field goal. You can punt it. You can let your defense play, keep playing defense. And again, I'm not arguing that the rule is either perfect either. Mm-hmm. But one, we had to decide on something when we put the rule in. Two, the rule was specific based on complaints we were getting by multiple owners, not just one owner you were talking about.
None of which are still around.
That's not true. That's not true, Tiger. Some of the owners are still here.
But let me give you a flip scenario that's a realistic scenario. Let's say the rule wasn't in place, and maybe I'm not sure if the person did this because of the rule or not because of the rule, but I distinctly remember a game that you participated in where right before the half, the person punted the ball, and the ball went out at the 7-yard line, and you had 7 seconds, 11 seconds left. And the very next play, the only next play of the half, what did you do?
I ran that ball all the way to the end zone.
93 yards on a run to the left, okay? So, so if you didn't have to, if all you had to do was break the ball, I don't know what the score was. I'm not saying you break the rule. What I'm saying is that that scenario, if I didn't want to give you a chance to touch the ball again, and I had a chance to run up the middle, get a first down, run out the clock, no more points scored, but you don't get the ball.
Yeah, but look at that's disingenuous.
But look at the game.
That's disingenuous. That's disingenuous. Wait a second, Josean. That's disingenuous because if your intent was to run the score out, right? Run the ball with 30-something seconds left, and you run the clock.
You chew the clock. You're done.
You chew the clock and you're done. I don't think that was the case. Now, you can tell me whether or not.
Even if I was trying to get in the field goal range, like my kicker can kick a solid 35-yard out. I can kick a field goal. But if I'm at the 42 and I want to get a first down, maybe make it a 38-yard, right? And it's 4th and 2 in that scenario we had 42, 30, 4th and 2, so 40-yard line. Now you're at a 57-yard field goal, which is still borderline for my kicker. Maybe I got enough time to get it down to the 36-yard line, kick a more reasonable field goal, or give you a chance. Even if I kick a great punt, you run it back a 93-yard run. I'm always going to try to choose the one that, without the sanction, up the middle, try to get to that point. And to me, that's a smarter football play than saying, well, let's give this guy a home run chance, and versus 0 chance. The worst happens, I miss a field goal or I don't get it, but I have to get the clock down, and you're stopping that.
That's still an end of the game scenario. You're talking about at the half.
It's the same scenario. The end of the half is where a lot of points are critical, especially if you're getting the ball back.
There is a home run option every play of Madden. So you can't use that specific opportunity. Now, again, we're kind of debating a nebulous point here, but because you could score a touchdown on any play. I believe the nature of the rule was to avoid people running the score up.
I agree.
And that is what and the higher you make that score, the more position you put them in to run the score up. Granted, you guys can, and when I say you guys, I mean the owners of the league, because it's not our league, it's your league. You can change it to whatever number it is. I'll be able to flex personally, but I remember when the rule was put in, it was put in to protect, because you have people at the top of the league, you got your top 10, your top 5, and you have people at the bottom of the league, your bottom 10, your bottom 5.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you're going to keep the league one full, because we pretty much have a 31-team league right now, and you can get somebody in there, real soon. That's something that recently happened. The only way the league is going to stay full is if we encompass everyone into that. And I believe raising, and this is just my personal opinion, I believe raising the score would only encourage more scoring outside of the rules we already have that kind of control the scoring. Because we had guys, I could probably put up 80 points if I wanted to. You know what I mean? The rules kind of limit the scoring and keep things within a certain scenario. And it will require you to, adjust your game a bit. But like Mr. Billups brought up, if it's something that we really can't live with or something that we really think needs to be changed, then what is the scenario? We got to agree on the rule needs to be changed, and it sounds like that's what a couple of people want to do. And we also have to agree on what the change will be. That's just as important as
it is. And I understand your point. I think some of your other protections, I say you, the people who wrote the Constitution, protections are to keep the game reasonable and people not to have getting their feelings about the score. I think that I don't think this rule circumvents the other rules, which keep things in, how far you're up late in the game, how many points you score against a computer. All those things keep things reasonable, and that's a stats thing more than a feelings thing. But to me, I think that if the rule could be tweaked just so that it has a less of effect on the disadvantage in that scenario. You should be disadvantaged because you're winning, right? And so you should be disadvantaged in that scenario. And because you can find people like, oh, if that's going to be the case, I'm purposely going to miss an extra point so that I'm only up 14 points, therefore, I could do these other things. And that's kind of stupid, right? And so if you think about if you move it just high enough to where that's not a disadvantage in that scenario to still get what you guys, need for the competition community, if you want to call it that, right, versus putting yourself at a disadvantage in a way that maybe the quote unquote it's in the game real life would be in. I think that's where you're happy, right? What I mean? Because I don't think 15 points at the 42-yard line constitutes I must kick it in my mind, not in the rules. I understand the rules are that way. I'm saying in my mind that wouldn't automatically mean I got to
going forward after a vote.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But honestly, should this be a vote? So my thing is, even at the end of the season, waste of time, get the vote. We never get the whole league to participate in the vote.
Well,
my thing is
could be progressive right now with the games getting finished and scheduled. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we're moving towards that. I'm gonna give people the benefit of the doubt.
All right. Just real quick on YouTube, Tony Tillman is chiming in, and what he said, Tiger, he agrees with everything you're saying. Well said.
Nobody agrees with Tiger.
Go watch your ribbon, Billups. Nobody's talking to you.
No, but Tillman's definitely saying if he was playing somebody like myself or Dan or D, or say we was playing the Falcons or even you, Tranks, what Matt did was actually kind of a smart move because he was trying to have control of the first half. It's only 18 points, being ahead. So him going for it past the 50. If he wasn't past the 50, I'll question it. But because he was past the 50, even myself.
You know what the rule is? Another good thing about the rule is, it's simple. There's no going for it past the 50 with this time of day, full moon, all these different things on top of the rule. It makes it difficult for people to remember because people can barely remember the scoring rules.
Right. Yeah. I'm still going to say this. I'm not going to defend or just disagree that the rule was broken, and we know what the rule is. I just think it's a situation where we really have to question whether that rule, as it's written, should be that way or not.
I understand what you're.
However, the new rule is, it should be simple too. I just think that the new rule should be better.
Yeah, I think if we create a new rule, I would think maybe we can look at maybe it being in the first half, not necessarily counting, and maybe a second half rule,
or even a division game. So that was a divisional game.
But we got the opportunity to pick rivals.
Yeah, but you're starting to add a lot of variables.
Rivals can fix that in itself. Right. So
let's not speculate.
We had a last session.
That was not a rivals game.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's ask it this way.
Let's ask it this way. Game. So I mean, you can bypass that. Like,
hey, Billups, you had
as a rival.
Josean, how'd you feel?
Well, his feelings are not important.
But they are, because that was exactly the origin. That was the origin of the rule. The origin was a rule was for people feeling some kind of way. We agreed to that earlier, right? So I'm asking just generally. I was speculating he probably didn't care, but maybe he did. So I'm asking him, get an opportunity to voice himself. I'm saying,
what we're doing is, on his face, if the rule has a problem, because the minute you start bringing people's feelings in, you're kind of breaking the reasoning for the rule.
No, I thought the rule was because you were trying to help somebody's feelings.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. We're trying to protect the scoring.
You had the penalty on you, right?
Yeah.
And you weren't intentionally doing it, right?
Right.
And yours was actually, you were a lot closer. And you were in the fourth quarter. You were trying to end the game.
Yeah, I was trying to just finish the game out. And
right.
But at the same time, it's the rule. So it wasn't like I couldn't do anything but own it. So it wasn't like, it didn't matter if the win was this or that or if my kicker's good or not. So I knew the reason why I did it. But at the same time, also, when it was brought to my attention, I knew I broke the rule. So I fucked it up. So
I didn't hear Matt complain. It was actually me doing more to complain, but it was about the concept of it, right? But I'm still asking Josean, because originally – how he felt, because I don't think he felt disrespected. I don't think he thought that was a stupid thing to do. He knew the rule.
And when I was playing Matt, I actually texted him because I was curious. I was like, hey, because I know the rules. Being the commissioner, it's kind of like the commissioner hat went on, and I was like, hey, it's fourth down. He was actually punting. So when he punted and then went for the fake and actually got it, I wasn't upset, but then I'm thinking, hell, Billups just got sanctioned for something. And he was trying to end the game, and this game was in the second quarter. Matt clearly had the game won. So I'm thinking in my head, it's 34 seconds, just kill the game. Okay, let's head into this. Let's get into the second half. But then I was thinking, if I let this go, and knowing Billups, because Billups looks at everything, and Billups would have came back and said, I didn't get sanctioned, I got sanctioned for this, and yet he didn't. That's kind of where I started looking at it in that perspective. It's like, we got to keep, it's a rule. If the rule is broken, the game was broadcasted. So I was, I told Tranks, and I even actually started texting the other guys. I was like, hey, are you guys watching the game? Was it justified? Just to get clarification, because I didn't care either way. I was losing. I wasn't going to come back and win that game. It didn't matter whether he went for it or not. He punted. The outcome of the game would have been the same. That's not, that wasn't the issue.
I mean, look, I guess, again, I'll be the first to say again, the rule is rule, and he broke the rule. There's a sanction. I get it. He already did the sanction. That part of it's done. As far as I'm concerned, the time is served. But the issue I ask is, if he was only up 14 points, and the rule says 15, from a football perspective, from a coaching perspective, do we agree that there's not much difference from a coaching perspective? It's only a rule difference for FNG, right? So my belief is that we should adjust the rules so that whatever that number is or whatever that rule gets adjusted to, that.
And I don't think anyone's questioning that, Tuck. I think the question is going to be how are you going to implement the rule?
Yeah, we lost him.
I mean, the biggest question is going to be is how are you going to implement the rule without having so many variables? Because now you're talking about the what ifs, and now you're throwing all these scenarios in. You're going to make the rule is going to become more complex.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you risk people breaking the rule even more because there's too much. You're saying, well, if you're beyond the 50, if it's a divisional game, if this and that, then you're throwing too many what ifs. Well, it's simple.
Yeah, but the question is this: what is the intent of the rule?
Again?
I mean,
what is the intent of the rule, and then get a rule that matches that? Because the true intent of the rule is what?
It's tough to go by intent, and I'll use this analogy. And I talk to the Tranks a lot, right? When it comes to before I put our sanction out there, I want to get feedback. I want to be consistent, right? So I don't just try to be consistent for what I do as sanctioning body, but what's happened in previous seasons as well. So if the speed limit's 35 miles an hour, right, and you're going 50. You may be going 50 for 5 seconds, maybe going 50 for 5 minutes. It may be because you're about to be late for work, maybe because you just got a nice car. We can't assume your intent every time, right? There's no way to do that. But we do know that you went above the speed limit. So if the rule is
right, but you're at that point, you're talking about the punishment for the rule. But the rule 35 was established because they realized in that zone, the rule was established. The intent of the rule was to make you drive your car at a speed to where you could stop in a zone where you may suddenly have to stop. That was the reason why 35 miles an hour came about.
It's the rule, though. So it's either you broke the rule or you didn't. So our rule is that this is the scoring rule. So I didn't 100%. Like I don't think his intent was to be unsportsmanlike, but at the end of the day, he broke the rule.
No, maybe my question wasn't clear. I was saying the intent of the rule, not of what happens when you break the rule or why you broke the rule. I'm saying the intent of the rule. That's why a speed limit in the school zone is 15, because they figure at 15 miles an hour, you have this ability to stop the car fast enough for that situation where kids can cross. 35 in the journal, you can stop the car fast enough for stop signs and things of that nature, driveways, cars coming out. 65 on the highway or 75 on the highway because you have less need to stop so suddenly. That's why the speed limit. So the intent is to be, able to stop your vehicle in a situation fast enough.
It's a knowledgeable guy right here, man.
Right? No, I'm saying.
Wait, real quick, because we got a question on YouTube. I think it's good. My thing is, Tony Tillman, he said, why can't we match the first half like the second half? The 22-point rule. Why so much confusion?
That makes more sense.
What is that a question he wants to answer?
Yeah, that was a question. And he's like, why can't we just match it?
So, in other words, you're saying you want it to be, you can go for it because this is a 4 quarters rule. It's not a first half rule.
Right.
Just to clarify things, that 15 points or more, that's all 4 quarters. That's not just the first half. I don't know if that's not clear, but as far as changing it to 22, there's no reason why it can't be changed. I'm not saying it can't. Yeah. I'm just saying.
But that will give Josean his consistency. You're talking about it's easy. You always remember everything's the same.
I can tell you, I've been up 21-24 to nothing in the first half before, and my game has gone into overtime because I start playing conservative.
Right.
To avoid running the score up. Or how somebody go feel if I do a play action pass on 3rd and 1 and try to score a touchdown versus running it, they getting stopped, then punting it.
Yeah, but if you look at the Constitution, we have the scoring where you have to score after you're up 28 points. You start scoring field goals. You don't have to go
22 points or more. That's the actual rule. In the fourth quarter.
Yeah, right.
Correct.
Which I agree to that rule.
And you can still kick field goals. So if you're going if you're telling me you're up 21-0, 21 points in the fourth quarter, you can still score. You can kick field goals.
But I think sometimes you start worrying about, like you said, people's feelings, right? We know some like if somebody did certain things that are rules, if somebody did it to me, I'm gonna just chalk it up. Like, hey, I've had people go for it on 4th down or on 30 against me before, and I didn't necessarily report it. I thought people go for it, be up 14 points with 20 seconds left in the game, and then go for 2 on me before, to get more points. Like that stuff happens, and it's cheesy, but I just chalk it up. Like if I was that upset about it, I would have stopped it. But you do that to some owners, right? So we got probably a good third, maybe even a half of the owners who are very competitive and staying on top of it, and others, you start losing people when you start playing like that. That's just facts.
And the computer will never be offended.
Yeah.
And if we have half a league of computer and the rest of the half a league Hawks, it's going to be a boring league.
Yeah.
So it's a sportsmanship rule, and it's to reduce scoring, running up the score.
Yeah.
That's what this main intention. And while I'm not saying it is or it isn't an antiquated rule,
I'll say it for you. I'll say it for you.
That's fine. That's how you feel. But the fourth quarter rule, which is what that is, the fourth quarter rule is really to protect. Hey, dude, shut the game down. Mm-hmm. Shut the game down. If you get in the scoring range, kick a field goal. So we're not saying you can't score.
Yeah.
But if you're up 21 points, you can score a touchdown because the rule says 22 points. If you're up 22 points or more, then all you can do is kick field goals. It's real simple. But that's just the fourth quarter rule. This rule covers all 4 quarters.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, then my proposition will be that we make it the same 22 across the board and everything's easier. That's my proposition.
But so with that being said, we can all agree that something needs to change with that rule, right?
Not really.
Some. Wait. I'm gonna say some. Go ahead, Matt.
Matt, you were just penalized. What were you gonna say?
I don't think the rule should be changed. Like you said, I broke the rule. Like I knew what the rule was. Like I said, I did it on accident. I didn't even care about it at that point. But well, the only thing about it for me was speaking on the rule you were just talking about, Tranks, like the fourth quarter rule where you kick field goals and stuff. Like I'm one. I always try to get better. Like period. I'm very competitive. I don't care if we having a water drinking contest. I want to win. Like that's how bad I want to win.
Water poisoning. All right.
but I mean, I always tell people, like, hey, I don't mind going to practice mode and if Tillman. I watch a lot of Tillman games. I was actually looking forward to that game. That's the only reason I was upset. If it would have been the Broncos or anybody else, I wouldn't care. But the only reason I was upset is because I knew I played the Titans and I had a game plan for him. Y'all don't understand.
Oh, so you saying that's why you broke the rule because you didn't want to play him?
Oh no,
he didn't say that.
I wanted. That's the only one I wanted to play for real. What?
Right.
And I wanted him to play that game also.
So did I. Trust me.
So
I wanted to watch that game. That was must-see TV.
Yeah, no, that's the only reason I was upset. I really didn't even care about it. Really.
So you're okay with? You just got a sanction, and you believe the rule is okay.
Yeah, it's cool. I got a sanction for it. Let somebody else get a sanction for it. Oh well, leave it.
That is actually. I hate to say this, but that is usually what happens, and not you specific, Matt. Most people who have been penalized by a rule don't want it changed. They want it to. They're literally what happens. And, you know, I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody else, but what usually happens is the person that gets penalized sits there like a hawk and waits for somebody to do the same thing. And then when they don't get penalized, Josean knows this, when they don't get penalized, they'll say something.
Yeah.
Where's the consistency? And they'd be right. And, you know, like I said,
I'm not reading into the malice intent or lack thereof. I'm saying that from a spade to spade point of view, does the rule make sense? That's how I looked at it, and it had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with me when it came, other than being a part of the league and having the same rule.
I think Ty was the only one that said it was because of you.
Yeah, and then
it definitely wasn't. You don't score that much for it to be
exactly. I actually went back. I chimed in, went back. I was like, I never was up 15 points in the game. It's irrelevant. Shut up. You know, so. But the point was, like, it was just, to me, I was like, in a football situation on the 42, I don't even think it should be a conversation. You know, like, if you go for a 42, that makes sense. You know, it doesn't.
Historically, Tiger, and again, I think this is when the rule was put in. Historically, the people that would break that rule are the people who run the score up, which was what we're trying to kind of stop.
So who in our league runs the score up?
We're not trying to have.
That's why I said it's antiquated. That's why I said it's antiquated.
What we're trying to do is be consistent, so it doesn't continue. So when people come in the league, they're like, "All right, well, I can get off," but you know, it's almost like the fair Madden rules. Do you remember that the fair rules of Madden? It was like around Madden 2010.
Would you like to quit because you're losing so bad?
No, that's not. That's in this man right now. Where if you on fourth down, you had to punt.
Yeah, they made you punt it.
They made you do it. You didn't have a choice, and that was online. And I love that because generally that's what you want to do. You know, that's what made me think of it, because at the time the rule was put in, we had people who were just trying to run the score up, and it was just like, dude, we get people leaving the league because of this stuff.
Exactly.
Just because a person's not in the top 10 doesn't mean we don't want them in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So but some of the most classic situations in football history happened because the people did think they weren't typical. the Saints won a Super Bowl because they kicked the onside kick coming out of the half. I mean, that never happens. You should never do that, but they did it, and it led to them winning the Super Bowl. And the reason for that is because sometimes coaches make good decisions, sometimes they make bad decisions. Belichick lost to the Colts that season before because he made that stupid go for it on fourth down when he should get the field goal. But the end result is, in this scenario, is it a football smart decision sometimes to go for it on 42? That's why I think in that scenario, if the rule could be modified to not lose the smart decisions when trying to protect against an antiquated potentially set of feelings for people, I think we can revisit it. That's all I was asking for.
I think it should stay the same for the simple fact that the smartest thing to really do is not get on fourth down. Just convert on third.
There you go.
that is, I'm going to quote you. I'm going to do Matt. I'm going to quote you. The smartest thing to do is not get on third down. Not get on fourth down. That is nice. I like that.
So we should go ahead and move on, Dillard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the last comment I had, what topic I wanted to talk about was Madden gameplay and what we would like to see in the next Madden 2020. And of course, I think it was some comments talking about the little glitch that's going on. I guess when you run the ball, for some reason, when you get tackled, you actually gain like 1 or 2 extra yards.
Yeah, the guy goes forward. Yeah, he gets tackled going forward.
Yeah. Wait, are you talking about in the game we played where your tight end didn't really go down and then kept going?
That's a different play.
That
was crazy, right?
That was crazy.
Yeah. I was like, man.
What Dill is talking about is in the one of the most recent Madden patches, there was it broke the game a bit, and generally when you're running the ball or sometimes with your receiver, you will fall forward when you tackle versus fall the direction of you're getting hit. Now it's not all the time, but there's a good percentage of the time the guy will fall forward. And I was actually my last game I was talking to Bullock and I said, yeah, it's a shame that it hasn't been fixed yet. It was broke because of the patch, but everyone has it, so it's not too unfair. If anything, maybe the teams that run more get more from it,
right?
Because those 1 or 2 yards would mean a lot. But it's something that they're going to fix, and if they broke it in the patch, they can fix it in the patch. So it's something I definitely want them to change. But
hey, whose kids is that in the background? It's kind of
not mine.
It's Josean.
Okay, thanks, Josean. No, go ahead. Who was about to talk?
I don't think it's realistic to say I hope that the future Madden games won't have bugs. That's just not realistic. So
right.
Yeah, the Bug Whisperer is saying this, by the way.
Look, understanding how they make the games, we should be happy that there's so few bugs.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? And the next time you start bitching about what happens in our game, I'm literally going to play this. Play what you just said. I'm gonna play it right back.
If you notice, I haven't bitched much about what happens. I just sent you the video.
Yeah, he does have some funky stuff going there, man.
Yeah. Well, something that I definitely would like for the future of Madden is the AI for blocking. There's too many open field blocks by especially offensive linemen. I don't expect wide receivers to have high intelligence.
And fullbacks too. They just run and then they go.
It's like
squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, squirrel.
I understand if your job is to block down, but if that guy's being blocked or not on the play, for him to run back inside to chase the guy that he's supposed to block on the play when there's just a safety and a cornerback there, if he chooses one or the other, I've said it in a couple of games, I'll make the other guy miss. But if you just run inside and I got to make 2 guys miss, it's like that's not even intelligent, blocking AI, and I don't know how that still is in the game.
And not all the SEC schools are stupid. I mean, I don't understand.
So that's something I would really like them to change. Like, if an offensive lineman is in the open field and there's 2 guys to block, he's going to block the one closest to the guy he's blocking. And another thing too, weight and strength should matter when engaging in a block.
Yes.
I cannot stand a cornerback standing up an offensive lineman like this and then getting around and making a tackle. They should pancake cornerbacks 95% of the time because there's not that many cornerbacks that can stand up to a guard or tackle block. Maybe a fullback because, weight and strength are, a little closer. But, I have so many run plays where guys are pulling, I got this guy on this cornerback, done. But my running back can truck him. but for some reason the offensive lineman just does this, and I want to just lose my. So that's something I would love change because I run the ball. So
all right, I'm gonna give. Hey, Josean, I'm gonna go down the line. Go ahead, Josean. You next.
I'm just thinking those damn shoestring tackles, man. These you going around the corner, you got guys diving, Superman dives, and tackling people. I'm like,
man, Matt told me that was the best defense you had against them. So what are you talking about?
I'm just like,
you didn't watch what you asked for.
That's crazy.
Is that all right?
That and then the other those interceptions where you're going over the middle and the linebackers make a catch, an interception. I just had one against the Chiefs. The guy's open, I'm floating it, and this guy, well, actually I didn't float, I did a bullet, and he's like 5 yards. I mean, not even nowhere. It comes out of nowhere and just makes us interception. I'm like, how this dude got wings? He can fly.
Right.
I'm like,
yeah, the passing trajectories are sometimes questionable when it comes to linebackers.
So that's been talked about a lot. Actually, linebackers in this game period leads in interceptions. No matter what, all linebackers have the most interceptions, more than DBs, and strong safeties, free safeties, which is crazy. But you could cover so much ground with your linebacker.
You think maybe their catching should be reduced?
No, I don't think it's a catching thing. I think that the trajectory, it's a ball trajectory thing. I think that their stats are fine. I just think they drop a lot too. So I don't even you try to check at batted balls or whatever. If they had a stat for drop interceptions, they would be really on top of the league. I think the problem is that the trajectory of the ball allows for a guy who's 7 yards behind the play to still get up and get the ball. I mean, it's not realistic.
My linebacker had like 14, 16 interceptions. Come on, man. That's not happening in real life.
Yeah.
Well, your user is very good. I think you're underestimating.
Yeah, but no, but it's just stuff I've seen. I watch a lot of online.
Of the game. That's all he's doing.
I mean, you look at D's linebacker has interceptions left and right too, and it's the same thing. I see some games. I'm like, his linebacker is nowhere in the play, but he just happened to get, like you said, the ball trajectory, and he happens to press that button just right in the animation. Some of these guys, I'm like, he's not that. His jumping is not that great.
Well, I mean, the easiest way to avoid whether or not it's just the user or the game is just look at a majority. Look at the teams across the board and say which teams lead their team in interceptions, and see if the majority of teams is linebacker or secondary.
And Dillard, right? You see most of them be linebackers.
Exactly. So that makes it that the number may be the user, but the fact that stat indicates it's the game.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, what you think?
I forgot Joe was in here. He's been quiet.
You there, Joe?
Yeah, I'm here. Like you said with the linebackers, some of the plays that they make, far as like passing and like Tiger said, maybe it's the projection of the ball, like throwing it so precise and they catching it. Like some of that stuff, it seems like it's just so unreal. So yes, the linebackers is definitely like some of the plays they make is a big R to me. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir. Matt?
As far as Madden gameplay, nothing really. I mean, besides when you like tackle like a wide receiver and then they still running for like 3 or 4 more yards.
Yes, the fall forward glitch.
Yeah, that's the only thing for me. But like as far as the interception thing, when I see somebody using, I'm not going there. I don't care where. If I see a user and you using the linebacker, I'm not going nowhere near the middle. I'm going somewhere else. I'm not going over there just because I know how users are.
Give me that.
Right.
I mean,
hey, real, why you think I came over that?
Give me that.
Hey, Tiger, what you think?
Is he the last one?
No, I got Billups.
You should leave him for last, man.
Leave who? Oh,
leave
I was like, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Billups.
I don't have anything too different than what everybody say. Like that, the middle linebacker or anyone in the linebacker getting these picks when they're around 10, 15 yards out of the play is troublesome sometimes. And as someone else who normally runs the ball, I agree. Like when you get these pulling guards and tackles going against safeties and cornerbacks, and you're getting destroyed. It's pretty ridiculous, at times. So would love to see something change. It always depends on who's the new cover guy of Madden on the gameplay. So if we can get like You know, I can see some things being changed if Barkley is the cover host next year or something. They'll probably gear more towards
don't jinx Stagger, man. He'll be injured.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
That's okay. I'll draft a new churn.
Well, can I give you guys a bit of information on the linebackers, since that seems to be really popular?
Mm-hmm.
The top 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The top 10 people with interceptions, 2 of them are middle linebackers. The rest are free safeties or cornerbacks. Harrison Smith has 5 picks. Mills has 4. McLeod has 4. Dillard has 4.
Are those all
Jordan Hicks? No. It's Vikings. Vikings, Eagles, who are number 1 in takeaways. By the way, they're number 1 in takeaways.
That's early. That's early in the season. So
True.
if you look at if you go to the season mode, you look at interceptions on the defense. So it's Dorian. He had Bobby Wagner 2 years in a row. He had 17 interceptions 1 year, 15 the other, and then had 14 interceptions. So you got the top 3 interceptions in NFL history by middle linebackers right now. Which is crazy.
Maybe we had a lot of dumb people early.
Yeah, and that doesn't even count. Like, I know for a fact Dillard's had 10 interceptions plus with his middle linebackers. Isaiah's had that. I'm not even great on defense usering, and I've had 10 interceptions with my linebackers before.
Realistically, up until this, I mean, I know what you're saying from a league career standpoint, but I just walked through all the teams, and there's only a couple teams where, if you count up the number of interceptions their team has this season so far, there's only a couple teams that linebackers are even matched to that. So most of the teams are still getting, at least at this point in the season, most of the teams are being led by the secondary.
Small sample size, though.
Very small. Fair enough.
You're right.
So,
all right. So, Tiger, go ahead.
All right. So for me, things that have bothered me the most, aside from bugs, I do complain about the bugs.
We're out of time for the show, right?
Right, exactly. So Billups, do you think it don't matter what you think? Okay, so
It doesn't matter what you think.
So know your role and shut your mouth. So now 3 things I think that would improve the game from my perspective. I think that one, the scientific thing, where I think the lateral speed for someone with 85 speed and someone running north-south for 85 speed, the lateral speed on the field is slower than the north-south speed. Even at the same acceleration, you get 2 players, how long it takes you. So you have to offset that by running at an angle, going backwards, because of just I think the physics of the towel animation is just not what it was in previous years or different years. And I think that's just a calculation thing they did wrong. I don't know if they did it for visuals or whatever, but I just think that it makes it less realistic, because if you run sideways, you run forward, it's the same run, and that bothers me. What Jedi touched upon, 300-pound, 90 strength, 6'7" people are not easy to be pushed off of by a 5'10", 4'4" guy who's a 185 when he's wet. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, And so if you ever walk past an NFL lineman, those are some big dudes, and so that bothers me. Not only for the running game, for the passing game. You got these guys just coming off the block, and they're like, I just think that's something that's not as consistent. And I think the other thing is just the momentum. I've always had a problem with this momentum, this artificial momentum thing, where like you watch the game, and all of a sudden, like, you got down a couple scores, maybe you made some mistakes, and like they don't know how to play football anymore. like we are human enough in our controls and in our gameplay. We don't need the game to artificially make it harder, And so I don't understand why they do it that way. I mean, I think there's enough momentum when you start going plays. Guys got your playbook. They're calling plays that are perfect against you. They got the momentum. They don't need to artificially have stats be adjusted. And when the announcers start telling you they have the momentum, you're in trouble. So that's something that I think they overdo it a little bit, in my opinion. So that's the third thing.
No, hey man, I appreciate everybody's input. I mean, I agree with everything y'all say. I think the biggest thing is that the offensive linemen, blocking assignments. You'll see 2 offensive linemen blocking the same person. You'll let somebody just run right by you. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that that needs to be fixed. It shouldn't be in Madden 19.
Right.
Madden, 07, 04, something like that. Yes, but not in Madden 19. So definitely something like that. And everything that y'all said needs to be improved in Madden 20 because I doubt it'd be fixed in Madden 19. So with that being said, y'all, we did an hour and 41 minutes.
Wow.
On this show.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's not the longest. It's not the longest.
I'm surprised.
Hey, great conversation. One shout out to Matt and Joe for joining. Of course, you too, Tiger. Anytime we have these shows, man, y'all more than welcome to be on here. This is not my show. This is our show. To talk about this league that we love to play. So, when I put a post out there, we're gonna do a podcast show. You want to get on? Just let me know. I'll shoot you an email or an invite.
Hey, Matt, I'm sure when you said you want to give me that, I'm sure you weren't talking about the sanction, were you? Give me that. Give me everything. I want everything. I want the ball. I want the interception. I want the sanction. So I want someone to come to my house, steal my controller. I want everything.
You see what I said in the interview, man. Give me all of it.
So, Matt, keep going, man. I'm sorry. I wanted to say this earlier. If you have game of the week, and I know we have some newbies. So we have some newbies that it was the Eagles and Redskins that didn't broadcast their game. And I think the last week it was the Panthers and the Broncos. If you're the home team, you have to broadcast the game if you're game of the week.
Correct.
That's cool. Somebody like myself, somebody like Tranks or other people in the league, that broadcast all their games, it's whatever. But if you have game of the week, we love to watch those games. So please make sure the home team broadcasts the game. If you don't know how to do it, you can hit myself up, you can hit Tranks up, or whoever. We can show you how to do it. Whether you use Twitch or
me and Dorian had game of the week when we played the Seahawks, and we both broadcast our games all the time. And I was actually going to do it because I was top 10 at the time. And when I saw that he broadcast, because he's on my friends list, he's a guy I follow, and I would suggest everyone in the league go to the Madden list and follow everybody on there, because when you do that, you'll get an announcement on Xbox that someone's broadcasting. You can watch the game. So I suggest you do that. Yep. But when I saw that he was broadcasting, I was like, okay, well, I don't have to broadcast. He'll broadcast. But, generally, if he didn't want to broadcast for some reason, it would have been somebody who didn't usually broadcast, I would have broadcast because I'm top 10. I believe all top 10 owners should broadcast the games because you're top 10. People want to know how you become top 10. They want to watch your game. And it's entertaining television.
Yeah. So I mean, on top of that, we got my man Joe. Joe is just, he's stepping it up this season, man. So I know it's early. And definitely. Tiger. You talk a good game. I just need that record to change, my brother. You play to win the game.
We would have won, but we couldn't pass. We couldn't run. We couldn't try to run. Every time they went down, they got a score.
Gentlemen, please stay by. Don't disconnect yet. But FNG League, thank y'all for watching. Thank you for the comments. I appreciate it. Until next time, God bless.
Great show.
All right, take it easy, buddy.
See you guys.